Hey YouTube, it's AdamX20 and today is March 1st. Wonderful. Today I've been working on my software, which is something I haven't really been focused on for quite a while, at least a week and then some. But I've been working on it, and I'm working on a new logging feature, which will, it's a really extensible way to do logging. Like, it'll log chat, and this is something that the community has had a direct impact on how it'll work. So if you're a member of the community and you've had your voice heard, you're going to see something that you've helped create. And I think it's really interesting how it works. So it'll log by server name and then room name, then it'll log by the date, and then it will log by the hour. And I went this way so that I went by date and by hour so that the files were more manageable, so we won't have like a huge running log that might be X number of megabytes long. You know, they're still going to get long, but after an hour it'll break off and it'll become a new log. That doesn't mean, you know, you can't put the logs together, but it just means that, you know, if there's files that you don't want, you don't have to sift through a really large file to delete what you don't want. But it's really extensible in how it works, in that it receives arguments. Okay, so it creates a new transcriber object, and by creating a new transcriber object, you give it a like a type, I guess, and then it would create a folder in the data logs folder for that type. So if you create a transcriber object with by sending the argument chat, it'll create the chat folder if you don't already have it. This is going to be great when you want to do like plugins. People have mentioned that they want plugins that will log specific games. Perfect. You know, if you want to create a plugin to just start logging your game, you can create a new transcriber object that will send that'll create a new folder for your game, and then log all of the chat through there. That's how it'll end up working. So it's really extensible, and that all it does is really receive arguments. The first argument is a list, which is a set of subfolders. So you have the transcriber object, like I said, which is going to be your main folder inside of data logs, and then if you want to create a set of subfolders to keep things organized, you can add a list. If you just send an empty list, that's great. You know, you can send an empty list. It will then it won't create subfolders. Man, I forget what the second argument is. Oh, it's the you know what? I think it's the file name, the beginning of the file name, I think is what it is. So if you have you know, if you want to keep your log data separate, so it's like chat or chat sent, chat received, you can do that and then keep the data separate. And then I forget. But anyways, it's all just arguments. Oh, the extension. But it's all the extension. No, the data, the actual data that you want to log, and then the extension. Yeah, so it's kind of organized in how it works. But there's really not much actually defined. Then what it does is it goes to see if all of the folders and files are in existence. If they're not in existence, it will create them, and if they are in existence, it will then just add data to that file or folder. So that's what I've been working on. Right now I'm just kind of fine-tuning it because I want to use it to log the network data, because there's three network issues that I'm trying to pinpoint. Like, there's one where suddenly the client's data can't be unpacked, or you know, it can't be retrieved from the package, so the server posts this error which says long integer is too large to convert to integer, and I'm trying to figure out why that is. Sometimes also the decompression fails, so I'm trying to figure out why that is. and I'll figure that out. I will do my best to figure that out. Right now, I just I don't know. As for the long integer is too large to unpack, it doesn't make sense to me right now, because I've looked at all of the sizes of the packages, and they're not long integers. I mean, they're big integers, but they're not. I don't think they're actually long integers. So I don't know. I do not know. Maybe they are, but they shouldn't be too large to unpack into an integer. If they are, I guess some of the ways I'm looking at correcting that issue is to create a set package size for network data, and then, which is something I really don't want to do because it's a lot of work, and then build packages that the client and server will send, and then when it retrieves, like I'll add a little tag to each package, which will say break, 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 and then at the end it'll be like end, and then it will find all of those breaks and put together a complete message, which is something I really don't want to do, but I might end up doing if this long integer is too large to unpack problem doesn't find a resolution. And then as for the decompression errors, one of them is an invalid header, which might mean some extra data is being left off, or yeah, some extra data would be left off in a message, and then it would be sent in the next message, creating an invalid header. And then the other one is just a decompression error, which I don't know what the cause is of yet, and there's little documentation on it. So I know those are the three problems I'm trying to correct with the network. They cause messages to not be received, or disconnects, and shit like that can just be a real annoyance, and it can be it can really be destructive on gaming. So network is #1 priority. It's been for a while. I didn't know where else to go with it, so I've been working on the map, but network really is, while we're in beta and until it's corrected, the #1 priority. As for the map, okay, so I have polylines added. I want to do some more code reorganization, but right now polylines are basically a clone of free lines, and instead of having free lines have the item type line, I want them to be recognized as free lines. So that's the code organization I have to do. So polylines work out pretty good. Since the line methods work out just fine, it just needs to be recognized as a polyline and not as a free line. That was pretty simple. Getting the actual polyline to draw was probably the most time consuming. And then there's the effects layer, which, I wanted to work with QPainter, and I thought I really could work with QPainter, but the QPainter methods, QPainter works out great. I can add stuff to it, I can subtract stuff to it, but I don't actually subtract elements and objects from it. It doesn't give me the access that I wanted. No, not QPainter, QPainter path. Like, I can create an area of opaqueness, and I can subtract shapes from that area of opaqueness, but in doing so, what I'm actually doing is, like, I'm adding elements to this QPainter path, and that's where it's really odd, because I don't want this QPainter path excuse me, to have all of these elements that end up becoming memory resident elements later on. So working with QPainter Path isn't what I expected it to be. I don't get the control that I want, and where if I add something to the QPainter Path, I can't specifically remove that one thing that I added. It becomes an element that is really hard to reach in code. Unless I'm doing something wrong, I don't know how to actually remove something I've added to a painter path, which then, in order for me to get a clean painter path, I have to rebuild it, and that is a complete pain in the ass. It's really hard on the computer, the software, because it's doing a lot of overhead calculations that I don't want it to do. So while I wanted to work with QPainter Path, I may have to find a completely different way to do it, or I may have to figure out why it's not working with QPainter Path. Or I don't know. There's got to be some way their Qt is doing it with their fill and their the way they create a background and a fill. There's got to be a way that I can mimic that. So yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. So this whole video was back to my code. Excuse me again. While I'm waiting for my helicopter, which I really hope will come early this next week. I don't know. It's in Minnesota right now. It says it's not going to be here till mid next week, the 7th. I really hope it doesn't. But I mean, I hope it's here earlier. But yeah, I'm waiting. I'm also waiting for another USB pass-through. My last USB pass-through for my electronic cigarette broke at the cable. And this one's a Halo, and I gotta say, this is probably the biggest problem I have with the Halo e-cigarettes, is that their USB pass-through leaves a lot to be desired. It has a little battery package in the middle, and then the actual device that I connect my atomizer to doesn't work with a straight 5 volts. There's something in there by the switch that that shuts it off when it receives too many volts. I'm guessing because I can't get it to work with more volts than what the battery output is, which I think is around 3.5 volts. Which sucks, because once you go with 5 volts, it's the best. But this new USB pass-through I got, excuse me again, seems like it's just a straight 5 volts right to the device itself, which is okay, except, you know, these USB pass-throughs are going to be flimsy no matter what I do. And I'm not really good with soldering, so I have a hard time making my own, otherwise I would. So I'm waiting for that. In the meantime, I'm smoking real cigarettes and using my battery, my actual portable battery, which is really shitty because it's dead. it's so dead. I get about 3 drags off of it, and then I have to put it back in and recharge it. And not very satisfying. But yeah, waiting on mail and doing work in the meantime. So, you know, this video wasn't very much 3D stuff, but we'll see what happens when I get the heli. I think this heli is going to be hell yeah. So, until tomorrow, bye YouTube.